In the news this week, MPs tell the Education Secretary to rethink new school standards. The Equality Commission is quizzed over its Christian bakery court action. And Scotland's named person plans come under fire. Hello and welcome to this week's news bulletin from the Christian Institute. MPs have told the Education Secretary that new standards requiring schools to actively promote rights under the Equality Act should be scrapped. In a letter to Nicky Morgan, 12 MPs, including Sir Edward Lee and Stuart Jackson, say it's up to the Department for Education to rethink the far-reaching new requirements. This shift in policy is distracting Ofsted from its function of ensuring high-quality education. Instead, it requires them to police the application of the current, highly politicised interpretation of equality. The letter also refers to faith schools, which have been targeted under the new standards. Judging from cases that have already been reported in the newspapers, the entirely predictable consequences of making these changes are already taking place. Trinity Christian School in Reading was downgraded by Ofsted in September for failing to promote other faiths. Last week, Ofsted backed down after accusing a Roman Catholic secondary school of failing to safeguard pupils from extremism and radicalisation. The school's regulator had told St Benedict's School in Bury St Edmunds that it was failing to uphold British values under the new school standards. But in a revised version of the inspection report, the issues had been removed. An MLA has told the Equality Commission for Northern Ireland that its legal action against a Christian bakery is essentially bullying. Speaking during a Stormont committee meeting, Jimmy Spratt said the watchdog is wasting taxpayers' money in taking the owners of Ash's Baking Company to court. He said afterwards, "I told the Equality Commission that they were essentially bullying a small business and threatening the sustainability of the company. This was verging on persecution and not a good use of public funds. The Equality Commission is an independent body, but it must acknowledge that it is out of step with public opinion as it seeks to challenge Ash's in court." In response, Chief Commissioner Michael Wardlow said public opinion does not need to be taken into consideration.
Of course we listen to what the public say, of course that's the case, but that isn't the thing that determines whether we believe a case to be right or wrong.
Hundreds of people have signed a petition against the Commission's actions, which was launched by 3 MPs last week. The MacArthur family, who own and run Ash's Baking Company, declined to produce a pro-gay marriage campaign cake earlier this year. Scotland's controversial named person scheme has faced criticism from a charity which supports families with children suffering from ME. Leslie Scott, who represents the Young ME Sufferers Trust, warned that parents of children with ME are often subjected to intrusive legal action by state authorities. She fears that under the named person scheme, these families will be at even greater risk. Speaking at a roadshow event for campaign group No to Named Person, Mrs Scott said the plans expect parents to be compliant with state advice, even if they think it is wrong.
Compliant leaves no room for second opinions, for questions, and certainly not for disagreement. It leaves no room for parents to correct professional error. It makes no allowance for the fact that parents know their child better than any professional can, and far from supporting families, compliant places a professional in control and moves the authority to the state, making the parent's opinion entirely secondary in the care and treatment of their own child. This is state control of your children. The named person is a universal provision. There is no opt-out from this oppressive, unwarranted, and in our opinion, illegal intrusion into family life.
Last week, Scotland's Supreme Civil Court heard a judicial review against the plans brought by the Christian Institute and others. Speaking during the review, leading human rights QC Aidan O'Neill accused the Scottish Government of putting out rubbish and failing to justify their legislation. And finally, a Christian writer who experiences same-sex attraction says he loves Jesus too much to identify as gay. Matt Moore, who is 25 and lives in Louisiana, was engaged in a homosexual lifestyle before he became a Christian 4 years ago. Writing on his blog, Moore explained that he doesn't want to call himself gay, as it wouldn't help him to communicate a gospel that transforms identity. Jesus became a man and undoubtedly endured a life and death of suffering more intense than I will ever be able to wrap my mind around. He died not only for my corrupt actions, but for my natural corrupted heart. I refuse, because of my love and thankfulness for who he is and what he's done for me, to hold on to and describe myself with a term that so describes the very corruption that Christ died for. Well, that's all for this week. For more information and regular updates on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.